Welcome, everyone, to Talented Universe on this 19th day of August on our second podcast for the day. Woo! 2025. Let's see, I forgot who I said I was. Oh, I remember. Marcia, how are you doing today?
I'm doing terrific here in Northeast Florida. Hanging loose.
Hanging loose. Liz, how are you doing? And then I'm going to have you introduce our guest.
Okay, I thought you were going to have Marcia introduce the guest.
I couldn't remember, so it's my fault. She gets the next one.
It doesn't matter.
She gets the next one. Yeah.
It is a warming up day here in Sacramento. And other than that, I would absolutely love to introduce our guest, Erin Orcutt, who is a phenomenal young actress within the vertical world. And I would love to get to know more about her. And we have lots of questions for her. So one of my first questions for you, though, is we know that when you were young, you wanted to become an actress or an actor. Who influenced you with that? And then later on, you kind of dropped out of it because of health reasons and other things. And then you got back into it. So if you can give us a little bit of backstory with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you guys so much for having me. It's so fun to be here and chat with you guys today. That is a great first question. So I really first realized I wanted to be an actor when I was like 8 years old, which I know is so young, but I did a little class play. Every year they did little class plays at school growing up, and I got to be the lead in that, which was really exciting. And I played a reporter, and I had so much fun that after that, I told my parents, I was like, I need to be a reporter. Like that is my journey. And then I soon realized that I just liked pretending to be a reporter and not actually wanting to be one. So I was like, oh, that's acting. I'm pretending. And from then I was just all acting all the time. But some backstory on that, I had recently lost a grandparent at that time. And the teacher asked my parents if they could give me that little lead role to like get my mind off things, distract me. So I owe it a lot to my grandma, who also, she was a piano player and played music and was involved in the arts. So that was kind of the start. And then, I didn't really start pursuing things professionally until I was an adult, but I did go to college for acting. I went to Pace in New York, got my BFA in acting for film, TV, voiceover, and commercial. That's a name. But I did graduate around the time of like the pandemic and strikes and just a lot of craziness going on and some health things. So I ended up stepping away for a couple of years. And I had a full corporate life and existence and job and career that I had until around a year ago. And around a year ago, I left that and started acting full time.
How scary was it for you leaving a full-time job, which I'm sure you had benefits and, the health benefits and everything. And I know you've had, a few things here and there within your own health that had to have been scary for you. Am I going to be stepping out into a world where I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this? And am I going to be able to cover everything that I might need, to where you are now, where it looks like between all the virtuals that you're doing, you're probably paying your own way without a problem. And, it's fully self-supporting at this point.
I am so lucky. I count my blessings, gratitude every single day. It was terrifying leaving my corporate job. I'm not going to lie. I think going from, having a stable income and healthcare and a retirement plan and all those things to just kind of like taking that risk on yourself, terrifying. But I kind of got to this place where I was like, my life is great. I have this corporate job, I have this life, but I'm just not feeling like this is what I want my life to look like. And that kind of just kept gnawing at me. And eventually I was like, you know what? If not now, when? I just have to take the leap. And I did. And it was hard because I actually enjoyed that job and I learned a lot from it. But I took the leap last summer and I got so lucky right away. I booked a pretty big commercial, like literally the week I left that job. So I was like, okay, thank you, universe. We're on the right path. And then, been working in verticals and things since. But I will say there was like a 4 or 5 month period after I left my corporate job where there wasn't a lot happening. And I think that was the scariest part of like, okay, I've taken this leap and now I just have to like wait for the momentum to catch up and like put in the work and do these things. And luckily it paid off. And yeah, I am very lucky with all the vertical work that's been coming my way.
Hmm.
Well, that's good. We lost Liz for a minute. She must have been having some internet problems. But I want to go into the chat room. And I'm going to go to Marcia quickly.
Yeah.
We do have a couple of highs. Camilla Oglig says hello from Germany.
Hello, welcome.
And Wanda Brewer says, hi, Erin. You're an amazing actress.
Thank you so much. That's so kind.
Now, Marcia, I'm just going to go ahead with you.
Sure. Erin, welcome again. And first, I'm going to give a shout out to your mother, who I just found out we have the same first name and spelled the right way. So, yay! Another Marcia.
Oh my gosh, I was going to ask you if you got that. She gets that all the time.
All the time. That's how I get people to remember my name. I do that instantly. But it must have been so exciting for you to go from LA, which is a huge city, to New York City, which is where I'm from initially. So, and you studied, I believe, at Pace University in New York. What was it like to be that young in New York? Was that your first time in New York, or had you been before?
That's a good question. I had been before. I'm not gonna lie, it was like a slap in the face. It was like, welcome to adulthood. I mean, you're from New York. What part did you grow up in?
I was born in Harlem and I was raised in Queens.
Amazing.
In one of the toughest housing projects in New York, actually.
Oh my goodness. Yes, yes. You're a full local.
But yeah, I love Manhattan. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do too. It has such a special place in my heart. It was like boot camp for a teenager though. Like obviously you go from like living the comfort of your family home to just like being on the streets of New York. And, Pace isn't like a campus. Like there's 2 buildings in the financial district, and you're just dropped in the center. So I remember one of my first days, I was trying to get from my dorm somewhere else, so one of the other buildings, and I hadn't really done the walk yet, and I was so lost that I had to have like a lift come and get me, and I was so embarrassed, and I was like, oh my god, like how am I going to do this? I can't even walk from the building to building. But you figure it out, and you make it work, and you meet so many interesting people. I think it's such a good experience for everybody to live in a city like New York. There are so many different types of people, so much culture. So I loved being there.
And New York is a walking city, so.
Oh my gosh, yes. My last 2 years there, I lived kind of near Columbia's campus. So I was like in lower Harlem area, and I lived in a 5th floor walk up. And I remember like every day, I'm like, how am I putting in 5 miles? Like it's nothing. Just getting from like school, home, up the stairs. Oh my gosh. I was in probably the best shape of my life.
Yeah. And the theater, did you get to go to much of theater, or did you?
Yeah. So something that was really cool that Pace had was kind of student comp tickets. So a lot of schools would give like either free tickets or like discounted tickets. So this was so crazy. They gave discounted tickets for the original cast of Hamilton before it was huge. So I think I saw Hamilton, the original cast, for like $45. Was I in the nosebleed section? Of course, but it was so funny. We weren't even really sure what we were going to. I went with like a group of other freshmen, and then we saw it and our jaws were just on the ground, just like, this is going to be huge. But it's so funny. The show was still so new. So we went outside, we took pictures with the cast. I have this really weird selfie with Lin-Manuel.
Oh my goodness.
As a freshman. But yeah, just so many cool opportunities like that.
So having gone to school in New York and experienced everything, you did go back to LA. Now, how did you make that choice to go back?
Yeah, it was hard to leave. I'm not going to lie. And I actually didn't plan on leaving yet. I saw myself in New York, honestly, indefinitely. But at the end of my 4 years at Pace, we had a showcase. We had one in New York and we had one in LA. And I ended up just having more career opportunities out in LA. I signed with my lovely manager, Lisa, who I'm still with today through that showcase. And just based on those opportunities, I was like, well, I guess I'm moving back. And, I'm a big believer in, you know, the universe and science and things like that. And at the end of my time there, I'm pretty sure New York City was expelling me and was like, it's time for you to go. I'm not even joking. My apartment, I had a roach and a mice infestation at the same time. And my air conditioning broke in summer. And I was like, it's time.
New York was telling you
It was like, your time is done here. Be on your way.
Wow. And when you got back to LA, did you go to a different part of LA that you had been in before when you went back?
I mean, I've kind of been all over at this place. I grew up in Studio City in the Valley, but I tried to do a couple different places. I lived over kind of in Westwood area, kind of middle of LA. I've lived in kind of the beach towns. Now I'm back in the Valley. So I've kind of done the full sweep. I mean, LA is so different from New York, as I'm sure you all know, but it's just so much bigger. There's so many places to go. So, you know, still figuring that out.
Did you want to take Michael?
Yeah, let me do a couple questions and we'll get Liz back in and she can finish up what she was doing.
Perfect.
Chelsea Otto, and now if there's NDAs involved, please let us know.
Okay.
Hello, what has been your favorite project you've worked on? And do you have any you're looking forward to that you can talk about?
Ooh, this is a good question. It's so funny. Every single project I've done has like a special place in my heart because each one is so unique with the cast that you're never going to get the same experience twice. I always say this though, the first project I did, Unwanted True Mate, just because it was my first project and it was such an amazing cast, it just holds such a special place for me. So that's probably number one. But I have been working on quite a few new ones this summer. One just came out yesterday or the day before, the last Spark of Us. That one was really, really fun to work on. That was a very different character. That was kind of a break from werewolf universe for me. So I really enjoyed working on that. And then I have two more coming out soon that are very different kind of archetypes for me. So I'm excited about those.
Well, that is cool. And Havelka says, how did you start shooting verticals? How'd you get into the industry?
Yeah, I love that question. So I actually had a friend who had been directing verticals, who's still directing quite a few verticals. And this was back in like 2023 or 2024, early 2024. And he was like, you got to start doing these. Like I'm doing them consistently. They're so much fun. There's so many out there. And I was kind of like, oh, I don't really know what those are. But then at the end of last year, I chatted with him again. He's like, you got to do it. You got to just, there's so many. It's such a fun experience. So end of last year, I started auditioning for them. And that's when I booked Unwanted True Mate. And that one ended up doing really well. And I've just been working consistently in them since, which has been amazing.
Oh, cool. And then this is talking about some werewolf stuff. How was it working with Seth Adine in Two Alphas Are in Love with Me and working with Cayman Cardiff in A Vampire in the Alpha's Den?
Oh, both such lovely co-stars. I love them both so much. The one with Seth, that was super fun. It was a crazy experience. That was the first time I'd ever traveled to shoot a vertical, and I actually got to shoot in New York, and I got to stay up in Queens, and so it was really cool having that full circle moment of being able to shoot something there. But that one it's just like a different energy when you're traveling somewhere. It feels like camp because you're with everyone all the time. You're kind of being shuttled places. But Seth is great. We had so much fun. We shot in New Jersey. We shot in Queens. We shot all over the place. I will say it was very cold shooting that one. We were heading upstate in April when that huge cold front came. So we were chilly. We were very chilly, but honestly, I'm like, we were supposed to be there's so many high stakes in the werewolf ones anyways that, maybe the cold adds to the fantasy vibes. Mm-hmm. And then working with Cayman, I love working with Cayman. We've worked together multiple times at this point. We've done 3 together, and he has become such a close friend in my life, which has been amazing. You bond so quickly with people when you shoot projects like this. I think we did the math once, and it's like in the course of 8 days, you're spending almost 100 hours with somebody. So it's like crash course into getting to know you and becoming friends and all that. So yeah, he is wonderful. So both of them, such lovely people to work with. Couldn't say enough good things.
Yeah, Liz, do you have some more questions since you got?
Yeah, I do.
interrupted?
I just wanted to apologize for what happened. It was StreamYard that crashed on me, and now I'm looking at an entirely new format, and I'm like trying to get my head wrapped around this new format that I'm looking at. I
Oh,
think
no.
you finished what I had been discussing before about, you know, was it fearful to change so many things? But a couple of things that I had wanted to tell you. My daughter pointed this out to me, and she is, I'm finding out, more interested in a lot of stuff that a lot of the vertical actors are doing that she didn't even know were vertical actors. You and a friend of yours did a web series that you co-wrote, and I believe you directed. And she's like, "Mom, if you're going to have her on here, ask her, is this ever going to be continued into a full series and not just a one episode?"
I know. I feel like we left people on a cliffhanger. So that was our like pandemic passion project baby child. We were fresh out of school and everyone I knew had lost their jobs like immediately when the pandemic started. So we were like, okay, let's make something if we can. And it was the craziest experience trying to make something when the pandemic was so fresh, because we actually went through SAG to make the project. So there were a lot of safety things that we had to keep in mind,
Right.
where we could shoot, having safety people on set, going through all of the proper precautions of testing and all these things. So that was the first time I'd written a project that I'd made and got to produce something. And my really good friend Caitlin, who I made it with, she co-wrote it with me and then she directed it. Really cool experience. We had the best time. But after we put that out, life kind of picked up again and we haven't gone back to it, but we always talk about it because it was a really fun story and we had so much fun making it. So I guess if there's interest, I would love to circle back.
She was very interested in it, and she was telling me that she was very disappointed it kind of left it there. And that's what she loves doing. Is she loves doing like the different types of web programs versus a lot of things like regular mainstream TV or even the verticals. Although she's watched a few of the verticals as well. My question for you is something slightly different to take you. You have a bit of a musical background as well, and I heard you were writing a song. Any chance of it being released anytime soon? And what is the song? And is it going to be country or just produced in Nashville?
I love that you know this about me. And I love talking about this. Yes, working on my first song. It has been something I've wanted to do for a long time. I'm actually working with a wonderful producer who's based in London. And it's been a really interesting experience of kind of juggling acting life and career and verticals and also doing this as well. But the song is done. I can say that. I can confirm that. I am actually meeting with my producer tomorrow to get everything finalized, which is very exciting. And I'm hoping to release it before the end of the year because my whole vision now is to have a music video and kind of make it into like sort of a narrative short. So wheels are turning, working on that. And, I'm like, if we're going to do this, might as well do all the things and have a music video and the marketing and all the stuff.
I'm going to do one more question, then I'm going to throw it back to Michael since it's on the same genre line. You like doing the music. You said that you kind of wanted to do a video. Mm-hmm. Would you ever consider doing a musical vertical?
I am waiting for the phone to ring. Absolutely. I feel like any chance I get to be in a room with like the writers or creatives, I'm like, make a musical vertical. Like there's so many of us too. I feel like so many of the vertical actors I know are so multi-talented. There's so many singers, there's so many dancers. I'm like, give us the musical scripts and we're all ready for it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Michael, I'm going to toss it back to you because it looks like there's people in the chat room.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. Yeah. Wanda wants to know this, and I'm sure everybody is dying to know this. Which one did you like playing better, a werewolf or a vampire?
Wow. That's a tough one. They're so different. And it's funny because with the werewolf ones, I don't generally get to be a werewolf until the end. I feel like a lot of the times the arc is, you're becoming the Luna or you're realizing that you have these powers, which is a very cool arc. But the vampire one I got to be a vampire from the beginning. It's so hard because I loved, the werewolf shows growing up, but honestly, like Twilight and Vampire Diaries, those were such nostalgic shows and movies for me growing up. I might have to go with vampire on this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's something about like the stoicness and kind of the intensity. I guess I was Team Edward in Twilight, so
there you go. Okay.
I think we all were.
Yeah.
And Wanda also said, would you ever produce a vertical series on your own? Have you thought about it?
Definitely. I haven't really put my foot into the business world of verticals yet, but I really enjoy producing and kind of being on the other side of things, the other side of my brain. So yeah, I would absolutely consider that. I have a lot of friends who are kind of in that process and starting that. And it's very cool because, at the end of the day, verticals are only a couple years old, especially out here in the US. So it's very interesting to kind of get in on the ground floor and be a part of it.
That is very true. I mean, it's changed ever since I first saw my first vertical back in October. It has definitely changed.
Yeah,
and it's getting more and more changing every day. So, which is really cool. And I like the diversity. I like not everybody in the world's a billionaire because, man, I didn't know there were so many billionaires.
So many.
I had no idea. I haven't met very many of them, so it's like, oh well, whatever.
They love a billionaire in the universe.
Yeah. Considering everybody's a billionaire in the universe, the homeless people must be millionaires then.
I'm thinking that, yes.
Everyone has money. I mean, not bad,
Yeah.
Oh, and then Aisha from the UK asked, since you enjoy horror so much, have you thought of doing voice acting in a horror anime?
Ooh, I have not thought about that, but I would love to do something like that. It's so interesting. I feel like the voiceover world can be so separate from live action. It's kind of like a whole different pipeline, different agents, different casting people, especially when you get into animation, cartoons, anime, things like that. So if anyone knows any hookups, let me know. I would love that.
There you go. Do you enjoy anime, or you just know what it is? And
I haven't watched a ton of anime. I think it is so cool, and I feel like the artwork and the animation is always so beautiful. I know this isn't exactly anime, but Avatar, the cartoon Avatar was one of my
Airbender.
Yes, The Last Airbender. And then what's the spin-off one? I don't know if anybody knows. Legend of Korra. Those two shows I loved those shows growing up. And I feel like I actually rewatched them in the past couple of years too. And they're so cool and beautifully done.
Let's head over to Marcia. I think I've got the chat room taken care of right now.
We just had Brian O'Shea on just before you earlier today. And he mentioned that we talked about Spoiled by My Vampire Uncle that you were both in together.
Yeah.
And he said that he thought that your storyline, your storyline was more interesting than the main storyline.
That is so funny. That's so funny that you had Brian on right before this one. That was actually the only villain role that I have done so far. So I had fun with that. And it's funny because, spoilers, and I don't think this is a spoiler, but our story there's not like a perfect bow tie of our story, which I feel like happens for the villains a lot of the time. So we're like, we're ready for a sequel, part 2.
Brilliant. Yeah. And I wanted to go back and talk about some of your stage work that you had done. And you've had widely varied roles, and a couple of them were as Cordelia in King Lear, and Wendy in Peter Pan, and then you played Oliver in Oliver Twist.
Yes, I did. I mean, some of these span back to when I was like early adult, late teen years. I went to an all-girls high school here in LA, and we did the show of Oliver Twist there, which was so much fun. Again, I was a theater kid, always have been. Like I love theater so much. I'd say one of my favorite shows that I got to do was, again, years ago now, but I got to do Nine, which is a show based on Fellini. And it was after my freshman year of college. We did this kind of abroad program summer stock, but I got to live in Italy for a month to do it. So I was like in the mountain towns of like the Italian Alps. I was in like a couple music festivals out there and got to be in that show. And that was just probably one of the coolest experiences of my life.
Wow. That sounds amazing. I often have watched some of the older films that took place in the 50s, and some of the movies seem like they were almost travelogues of places like Italy, where you see the Rome. Being able to be on one of those ancient structures, was there something particularly wonderful that you remember?
Yeah, I mean, everything was so gorgeous. We spent most of our time in these villages, not villages, but little towns, I would say, where, there wasn't really Wi-Fi. There was like one area you could go to in the town to get Wi-Fi, but a lot of the food was from the land, and it was just such a different experience from living somewhere like New York or LA. You went and you got your food from the store every day because there was no preservatives, and you would cook, and the community culture, everybody knew each other, and it was just so gorgeous. So yeah, being there was like honestly a breath of fresh air.
Mm-hmm. And I also read, and I think Liz brought it up a little bit, that you have faced some health challenges like many of us, and have been pretty open about that, and to speak about how you can still live your dreams while facing health challenges.
Yeah, I love this question. I think it's so important to be open and talk about these things, because I think so many of us go through these things and you don't always know that. You don't know what people are going through. So yeah, in my early 20s, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and had always had, some immune issues growing up and things, but that was kind of like my big diagnosis. And that was tough. I'm not going to lie. And that was part of the reason why I stepped away from acting for a bit, to kind of get that under control and kind of figure out different ways of dealing with my health and healing. And also I was like, stable job, healthcare, all kind of went hand in hand. But, I think stepping away and dealing with that, like so much of being an actor is like having life experience and having these things to kind of pull from and relate to with other people and other characters. So, even though their health things can be challenging, I'm still grateful for who it's made me, and, the things I've gone through to bring me to where I am today.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for being open about that. I actually have family members who also have Crohn's, and I also remember there's a Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback who had and has been very open about his challenges. So and sometimes he would say that it made him more acutely aware of taking care of himself. So he actually felt that challenge made him better in some ways. So
yeah, that's a really positive and nice way to look at it. And I agree. I think I have so many tools and resources to know what my body is feeling and kind of how to adjust to certain things now. So, I wouldn't have that if I didn't go through something like this. But I'd say, like, to anyone watching, also dealing with health issues, who wants to be a performer, I think it can be daunting because, there's a lot of hours, there's a lot of criticism, etc. But I'm like, never give up on the things you love. You'll be able to figure it out. And there are support systems, there's ways to heal. And ultimately, I think if you're doing the thing that you love, that's one of the most healing things you can do for yourself.
And a kind of a nuts and bolts question. When you get a script, and what is your approach to learning your character, and what is your approach to here it is?
Well, it's interesting because specifically with vertical, sometimes you don't have a lot of time. So I feel like I have my elongated version, and then I have my, all right, we got 5 days, and then we're shooting a 95-page script. But for me, I always read it multiple times, and I try not to make a ton of assumptions, at least the first couple of times reading it. And then it's a lot of sitting with it and thinking about it. I go on walks. I think about the character. I think about what she is like. I also feel like sometimes I'll pull inspiration from other characters where I'm like, oh, I see like a piece of my character in this character that I've watched, or this actor or this, and kind of slowly piece it together. And then as for, line learning and things like that, the app Cold Read has been just such a game changer for me. I'm sure a lot of actors use it, but it's a app where you can put in the script in your lines kind of as yourself, and then you can rehearse with yourself. And it's triggered by the last line. So you're actually running the scene. So that has been really helpful too.
Oh, I have not heard of that.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
It is amazing because, at least for me, like doing something out loud is so helpful to seal it in. And because it is triggered by the line to go to the next line, it's like you're actually doing the scene with somebody and not just reciting. So it kind of allows me to like play with different things and figure out my intentions and stuff with myself. So I'm not always bothering someone to read a rehearsal.
About that. People don't run. Okay, Erin's got a script. Let me.
Yeah, they're like, go on Do Not Disturb, hide.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, I'm doing one question in the chat, and then we'll go to Liz.
Perfect.
Chelsea Otto says, are there any skills you picked up to help you in your roles?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I think there's a lot of stunt work that happens in verticals. So I think throughout all of these, I've gotten a lot of really cool stunt education, which has been nice. I also learned how to ride a scooter recently. That was an electric scooter. I'm not very good with things on wheels. So that was great. And you're on set and you're sometimes doing really strange things. And you're like, this is not ever something that I would do. I have a werewolf growl now that I've practiced.
Did Cayman teach you that, or did you pick that up from? Oh, he did teach you that.
Yes, he taught me everything I know about a werewolf growl. He is a professional at that for sure.
The best werewolf growl in the business is what I say.
I know. I'm like, he has fan pages dedicated to that growl. It's awesome.
That's so wild. Liz.
You are such an incredibly diverse artist with your creativity. What have you found to be either the most fulfilling or rewarding with that?
Oh, well, first of all, thank you. That's so kind. All of it, I think it all kind of plays together. Like, I feel like as a creative person, at least for me, like I need to have multiple outlets. I think it's interesting because it's like when one thing becomes my career focus, let's say acting, which it is right now, then music kind of becomes my, more therapeutic, connected, grounded source of creativity. And now that that's kind of career, like I've honestly been writing a lot of poetry, like just anything that kind of like lets the creativity out. And it kind of just cycles depending on what's happening in my life.
Okay, that actually would make sense. And I know I had mentioned before about musical verticals, but have you ever thought of doing off-Broadway or Broadway as well?
Yes. Oh my goodness. That would be so fun. Yeah. I just cannot dance for the living life of me. And I am not afraid to say it. I will shout it from the rooftops. I'm not a dancer. And I know, the Broadway route, there is so much dancing involved. And I have some friends who actually are on Broadway right now or on national tours. And
ooh, cool.
They're some of the coolest people I know. I'm like, they're so multifaceted and talented. But dancing is not in the cards for me. But eventually one day I would love to do a show maybe that's less dance heavy and give that a spin.
Who do you think you would want to, even if you could dance, who do you think you would want to act opposite of?
Oh my goodness. Anyone ever?
Anyone ever, living or dead?
Wow. I mean, I would love to play Amy Adams' daughter in a movie.
Oh, Wendy?
Amy Adams.
Amy Adams.
Oh, okay.
She was in oh my gosh, I mean, so many things, but like Sunshine Cleaning, she was in Arrival, Nocturnal Animals. She's just somebody that I've always looked up to. I really enjoy her energy and kind of, I've pulled a lot of inspiration from her as an actor. So I think being able to be in a project with her would be such a dream come true.
Oh, that's amazing. Michael, I'm going to toss it to you for a second.
Okay. I was just typing.
Did I get you unawares?
No, I was just typing something with Erin, saying she wants to do something.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, do you want to do that? Because someone's asking.
Oh God.
You can pass.
I can give it a go. I feel like I would like need to hear Cayman do it for me to do it.
I don't see Cayman in our studio.
I know.
Right now.
I'll give a little grr there, just like a sneak peek. That wasn't it. But if you want to see me actually growl, check out my latest project on Viglu with Cayman. I actually do get to growl at the end there. So check
this is from Hafel Jess. So she just told you where to go to see the real thing.
She told you where to go.
I will say, props to Cayman, because I only did that growl like a couple times because I only had to do a growl once in that project, and I was already losing my voice after a swift 3 takes.
Really?
And I'm like, he's been doing this for a week and a half, and he's fine.
Sometimes I wonder if he really is a werewolf. I really do.
A werewolf with ADHD, maybe.
Yeah, he's awesome. We really love him. So
yeah, he's great.
Let's see. If you had your choice, if you could have a choice and everything worked out, would you rather go to stage if you didn't have to dance?
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather stay in TV, movies, vertical space?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think my heart really does lie in film, TV, or just any media that has to do with the camera. That's always been my number one passion. But I think if the perfect worlds collided, I would love to do some sort of movie or TV show that has music involved. That would be the dream. Like, I don't know if you guys ever watched the show Nashville.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Like something like that would be amazing. I always loved Claire Bowman's role in that and all of her songs.
So did I.
Yeah, she's so good. And, Walk the Line with Reese Witherspoon and Joaquin Phoenix, like something like that, where there's still substance and it's a little bit darker and grittier, but there's beautiful music. That would be honestly a dream come true.
Well, Hafega, she writes back and says, I've already seen that. And then she goes, it was great.
Well, thank you so much. I'm glad my growl,
Yeah. Marcia, I'll go ahead with you.
Well, talking about learning things from roles and that you've done, I learned something that I did not know about in Dr. Wifey, Please Touch Me.
Oh, gosh.
A term.
That title.
The titles are fabulous. Gynophobia, which I didn't know was a thing.
Yeah.
Had you heard about that before? But it really is. It really is a condition.
Yeah. I had not heard of that before. But anytime I get a script and there's a term that I'm like, let's, figure this out, I always want to do my research and look it up. And it is a condition, and it has a lot to do with childhood trauma and anxiety and things like that. So yeah, I learn something new every time I get a new script. I feel like there's never a set or an experience like this where I'm not learning something.
In talking with you, I see even more your philosophy of staying open to whatever comes to you and learning from it. There's a quote of yours which I really like, which reads, "Follow what lights you up and stay open." Is that something that you had heard, or is this an Erin quote?
I think that's an Erin original. I love that you found that. I think that's a big philosophy of mine in life. I think following the joy in your life and the things that you love, that's where the light will come. I'm a big believer in kind of like letting the universe flow to you and taking whatever comes in stride. Obviously, there are hard moments, but I think in some of my darkest and hardest moments, I've had the most growth and learnings, and I can look back on those times and be really grateful for what it taught me and where it led me.
Mm-hmm. I even think back with your project with Caitlin that we hope we'll see some more episodes of. That's kind of around Halloween, which I don't know, is that one of your favorite times of the year, Halloween?
Oh yeah, I am a spooky season girl. It's funny though, because like the actual holiday of Halloween, I'm not a huge, person that dresses up. I think I'm a cat every year, not very creative, but just the season in general. Like I just love the vibes. It's cozy. You're watching spooky movies and doing spooky things, and it just feels like a magical time of the year, and I love it.
Because in that piece, I kind of still see your stay open, because they were kind of staying open to what was going to happen. It was not good stuff, but
not good stuff. I know we really left y'all on a pretty big cliffhanger on that one, and I do apologize. But I'm honestly going to call Caitlin after this and be like, people are requesting more. We got to do it.
We need it.
Yeah.
Well, and I'd like to know, what was the last movie that you saw in a theater? A lot of us don't go to the theater as much as we used to, but
yeah, I'm trying to get back more. I saw Sinners. That was the last movie I saw.
Wow.
And it was so good. Did you see it?
Yes. That actually is a new series too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't realize.
I think it's Hulu, I believe.
Yes. Okay, well, I'll have to check it out. But yeah, that movie, I went in not knowing much. I kind of didn't want to know too much. And it just blew my mind, all of it. I was not expecting any of the things that happened to happen. And it was really great.
And it's almost, sometimes I think, what else can we do? We've seen it, we've done it, we've heard it, but creative people like you still push the envelope and bring us new things. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. I think people, especially these days, are really looking for escapism and shows and creative projects that they can connect with and kind of take their mind off of their own life. And I'm so grateful to be a part of that. It's something that makes this so fulfilling for me, seeing how, people receive the projects and receiving messages about them. It's really lovely.
Mm-hmm. With your instrumental prowess, I saw that you play the ukulele a little bit, a lot.
I'd say with all instruments, I play to accompany, if that makes sense. So I can play light piano, light guitar, light ukulele, and I accompany. But I do it because I love singing so much. I would not say I'm like, professional instrumentalist. But it's so cool when people are amazing at those things.
Well, I think I need more ukulele in my life, because it's such a cute instrument.
It's actually right here, little ukulele.
I see it
in the corner. I mean, honestly, I took up ukulele because it's easy to travel with. I don't know if anyone here has ever tried traveling with a guitar, but it is nightmare. So I was like, I need to learn how to play something that I can actually fit in a suitcase or a bag and not have to check it or try to drag it onto a plane. Nightmare situation. Yeah.
What's your go-to ukulele song?
My go-to ukulele song? Oh gosh, it's one by Ingrid Michaelson, but I'm blanking out on the name of it. You and I by Ingrid Michaelson. That's it.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down because I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, it's a really nice song.
Thank you, Liz. I think you were gonna say.
No, I was just gonna make a comment when she mentioned trying to drag a guitar. I used to be terrified mine would be getting damaged because it'd always have to be put in the hold. And it's like, no, or lost or something. No. In my late teenage years and very early college years, I had a band and we would travel. That would frighten me to death. It's like, it's way too big, to come on board with me. They'd have to put it down in the hold. And it's like, I was always like, okay, how badly is it damaged this time?
Oh my gosh. That's so cool. You were in a band though. What kind of music did you guys make?
It was a mix of a lot of things. We did a lot of rock from the 80s. We did a lot of country that was anywhere from the early to mid 60s all the way through till like the mid 90s. So
that's amazing.
But one thing I wanted to ask you, you did a movie, and I think at least some of the stills of it have been released, so I'm not going to spoil anything with this. The Last Spark of Us. You were wearing the most gorgeous dangly earrings. Do you have, and I'm a person who loves dangly earrings. Do you happen to know where the costume department got them?
Oh, gosh.
Because I know sometimes they'll, say, okay, this is sponsored by Shein or this is sponsored by or something.
I wish I had a better news for you, but I don't. But so that project actually is out, so feel free to talk freely. I think it launched yesterday, the day before. But our wardrobe person on that, her name was Tiffany, and she was amazing. Like every outfit that she put together, all her jewelry pieces, I wanted to keep all of it. I was like, this will be my new wardrobe now.
Did you get to keep any of it?
I don't think I did. I was in such a hurry wrapping that one because sometimes, you kind of hang out, but I was starting a project the very next day with a very early call time. So unfortunately it was kind of like a quick goodbye, head out to get a few hours of sleep.
Go back to the other one, yeah.
If I had stayed, I probably would have inquired about some of the items.
And if I don't get a chance before, there's two other things real quick. Anything that you remember would be your like favorite memory, let's just say with the last couple of shows you've done? Is there anything that was like a favorite memory or one that stands out?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's so many good memories. I think one that was really fun. So this is a project that has not come out yet, but it should be coming out probably in the next month, I would say, where I got to dive into a pool with another person. I'd done water scenes before, but this one we were, we're kind of getting, not saying too much, but we're getting away from the bad guys, and the only place to hide is underwater. So we're in full black tie attire as well. These gorgeous. Wow. I'm in a full gown, hair is done, the heels, and he's in a 3-piece suit, and we're throwing ourselves into the water. And that was just so funny to shoot and so much fun. We had a really awesome AD on that set too. She, you have to be worried about like safety and stuff when it comes to like water pools. And, it was at night, but luckily they had heated it. We had a lifeguard, of course, but the AD gets in her bathing suit and she's like, I'm trying all the stunts before the actors do because we need to make sure these are safe. So we're getting ready and we're watching her through the window with, the crew literally practicing all of our stunts for us to make sure everything is up to par before we even get out there. So it was just, one of those moments where everyone just feels like a big family and we're just like having so much fun filming.
That is absolutely amazing. And Michael, I know there's a couple more things showing up in the
I'm gonna do one more, and then we're gonna do our final things. Aisha, this is back when you were talking about kind of movies you might do, maybe not much dancing. So would you consider acting in either the Rocky Horror Picture Show or Little Shop of Horrors?
Oh yeah, absolutely. 100%. I'm pretty sure they're doing a revival of Little Shop right now, and it's with,
I think they are, yeah.
Suddenly Seymour. I mean, I've been waiting my whole life to sing that song. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
So yes, the answer would be yes for sure.
Okay, Aisha, there you go. So and let's go last question, comments from Marcia.
Okay, it's at the end of a long day. You're tired. You're looking forward to going home, and you're hungry. What are you reaching for out of your refrigerator or out of your closet?
My closet. Where I keep all of my snacks. After a long set day, the last thing I'm doing is cooking. I'm not even gonna lie. When I'm working, my fridge becomes a graveyard. So I will be Postmating. This is my thing. I'll get off set. I'll literally park like 5 feet away. I'll get my Postmates out so I can time it perfectly from when I get home so it's arriving. Honestly, if it's been a day and I am hungry, I'm getting a burger, a big juicy burger and fries, specifically from Burger Lounge. because they have really good gluten-free buns and really good dairy-free cheese, which, that's part of the diet that I maintain for my Crohn's and everything.
Wow.
So that, and they also have really good dairy-free milkshakes. So if I'm getting extra crazy, all three of those things.
All right.
Yeah.
That sounds great. That's the end of the day for me. Liz?
Yes, highly recommend.
I just wish they were closer. I'd send my daughter to it because she has IBS and Crohn's as well.
No way.
Yeah, and actually my best friend, who is her godmother, has Crohn's too. So
oh my gosh, you got a lot of Crohn's around.
Yeah, and we don't know why. And they're, we're 50 plus and above. My best friend, she's 60, and myself, I'm 56. So I was surprised my daughter got it when she was very young, like almost born. And they couldn't diagnose it for the longest time.
Really?
We would take her to children's hospitals. We were in San Diego. She had to walk out of one of the programs there. She was just crying. And they kept saying, "Oh, it's all in your head. It's all in your head." For years, they said this.
Which is the worst.
And I'm a nurse. Trust me. No, it's not all in her head. You try sitting there holding her for hours as she's crying. It's not all in her head. Yeah. But what I wanted to say was thank you so much for coming on the show, and we really appreciate it. And I would love to talk with you more at some point.
Yes, this has been such a lovely chat. You guys are all lovely and asked so many wonderful, thoughtful questions. It was so fun being here.
Well, we're all glad that you came, and we're glad you seem to have had a good time. But we would like to invite you back anytime you'd like to come. And if you want to try to get Cayman to come on with you, so you can both growl to make, so she will be happy. That would be great. So we do just we're closing this one up, but we do have in another hour and 8 minutes, we've got Riley coming on. Riley Nottingham. So
he's so lovely.
Yeah, so we've got all these fun people today. So that is great.
Yeah, it's a full fun day for you guys. I love it.
Yeah, it's been an interesting day. Lots of things going on. But everyone, thank you all for coming. Hopefully we'll see you for Riley Nottingham in an hour or so. But take care, and everyone have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye, Erin. Thank you.